15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff of Falcon 9. Go Falcon, go Intelsat Galaxy 33 and 34. Falcon 9 is pitching down range.
T plus 40 seconds into flight, Falcon 9 successfully lifting off from Pad 40 at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, carrying Intelsat's Galaxy 33 and 34 satellites to orbit. Now, during ascent, we have begun tilting the engine, that's technically called gimbaling, and we've begun what's called a gravity turn. So we're beginning to move the rocket horizontally. We're still going up, but we're also going horizontally out
Falcon
over the
9 is
Atlantic.
supersonic.
Now, at this point, we're just a few seconds away for maximum dynamic pressure, max Q, right after we get supersonic.
Max Q.
With that, we are through the highest point of stresses as we're going up through the Earth's atmosphere. Now, going back to what I was saying about going horizontally, a rocket needs to go about 17,500 miles per hour to get into orbit. So our velocity is going to keep ticking up. You can see that on the left-hand side of your screen to take these satellites to their ultimate orbital destination. Coming up, we've got 3 events in quick succession. First of those will be MECO, that's main engine cutoff. This is where we shut down all 9 of the Merlin 1D engines on the first stage. Following that, we'll have stage separation. The first and second stages will separate. And then we'll have second engine start number 1, SES-1. That's where we'll ignite the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage. So again, 3 events happening back-to-back, MECO, stage separation, SES-1. Those will happen about 20 seconds from now. Great shots from the ground. You can see as the atmosphere is getting less dense, the plume expanding behind the rocket.
MECO. Stage separation confirmed. And back ignition.
There we go, those 3 events back to back. So with that, the first stage will start making its way back to planet Earth for recovery. Our second stage has a pretty long burn to go. Next major milestone here will be coming up at about T plus 3.5 minutes. That'll be fairing deployment. Now both of these fairings, oh, that's a great shot. You can see the first stage, I believe, on the right and the second stage on the left. And those periodic bursts you're seeing there from the first stage attitude control system, helping reorient it, get the heat shields down. Let's see if we'll also get to see fairings. Yep, you can see them.
Confirmed.
Left-hand side of your screen, those 2 white blobs coming off of the second stage are fairings. These fairings have flown 5 times each. We will be attempting to retrieve them today and use them on a future mission.
Both stages continue on nominal trajectories.
We're about T plus 4 minutes into today's mission. Had a successful liftoff just 4 minutes ago. We're in the first of 2 planned Merlin vacuum burns for satellite deployment. Left-hand side of your screen is Falcon 9's first stage. We've got a view looking down towards the engines. You can see that the grid fins have deployed in preparation for atmospheric reentry. On the right-hand side of your screen, a great shot of the Merlin vacuum engine glowing brightly with planet Earth in the background and some sunlight behind. The second stage on the right-hand side of your screen is carrying the Intelsat Galaxy 33 and 34 satellites to orbit. Next major milestone is just under 2 minutes from now. That'll be the first stage's entry burn. For that, we'll ignite 3 of the Merlin 1D engines, starting with the center engine, and then 2 of the radial engines. And that's amazing. That's a great view. You can see we just launched at the perfect time here, so we're catching sunlight off of the top of the Earth's atmosphere. It's reflecting off of the plume of the rocket. I love to call this the space jellyfish or the space octopus. But at the altitude that the rocket is at, the sun hasn't quite set yet, so we're just seeing the plume of the sunlight reflecting. Fantastic. Now, as I was saying, entry burn coming up for the first stage, left-hand side of your screen. That burn helps slow down the first stage for recovery as we start hitting the thicker parts of the Earth's atmosphere. And during that entry burn, we're decelerating, firing the Merlin engines, but the plume of the rocket is coming back on the vehicle, and so that ends up leaving that nice soot deposit that we see on the surface of Falcon 9s when we get them back on recovery. You're seeing some white gas bursts on the left-hand side of your screen. That's from the attitude control system. We carry nitrogen gas on the first stage. Since you don't have an atmosphere to push off of in space, we have to produce some thrust to reorient the vehicle, and that comes from those nitrogen gas thrusters. Second stage burn continuing to look nominal.
Stage 1 FTS has saved.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
So again, 3 Merlin 1D engines igniting here, plume coming back on the vehicle, slowing us down. This burn just about 20 seconds long.
Entry burn shutdown.
And successful shutdown of the entry burn. So with that, the first stage is going to do a little bit of reorienting, make sure its heat shield is pointed down, and as we start getting into the thicker parts of the Earth's atmosphere, those grid fins start to become much more effective. And the whole reason for doing this is because we want to reuse this booster. Reusability is the key to lowering the cost of spaceflight. That enables us to make more investments in critical scientific research. As I mentioned earlier, the first stage that's supporting today's mission is making this burn for the 14th time, having done it for GPS-3 Space Vehicle 3, Turksat 5A, Transporter 2, and 10 Starlink missions.
Stage 2 terminal guidance.
So at that call out for Stage 2 terminal guidance, we're coming up on second engine cutoff, or SECO, number 1.
Stage 1 is transonic.
That call out there indicating that we are passing through the speed of sound as we're getting through the thicker parts of the Earth's atmosphere. Next major milestone for the first stage will be its landing burn. Just a single Merlin engine will ignite, followed by landing leg deploy.
Stage 2 FTS has saved.
And hopefully a soft touchdown.
Stage 1 landing burn.
On the second stage.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing is confirmed.
Awesome. Successful
Stage 2
landing
nominal orbit insertion.
on our drone ship about
Expected loss of signal, keep.
600 kilometers off the coast of Florida. You also heard in there was second engine cutoff on our second stage. So just handling them in order here. 146th recovery for an orbital class rocket, including first stage landings for Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. Second stage completed its burn. It's in the nominal orbit, but the mission isn't over just yet. The second stage is going to embark on its first coast phase. Following that coast phase, we are going to light the Merlin vacuum engine for a second time. That'll happen about 26 minutes into the mission. So we're going to see you back here in about 17 minutes. In the meantime, enjoy the space tunes, enjoy this awesome view of Falcon 9 and the space jellyfish.
Good morning everyone, welcome to the first live stream. We are joining with Mr. V. We are audible.
Expected loss of signal, Bermuda.
आवाज आ रही है? Varun, am I audible? Yes, you are audible. आवाज आ रही है?
Am I audible?
Yes, आवाज आ रही है. Audible आ रही है आवाज.
हाँ? हेलो तेरा आवाज तेज
आना चाहिए यार, नहीं आ रहा क्या?
अभी नहीं आ रहा, अभी तो बोल रहा है क्या? क्लियर नहीं है।
अभी
अभी ठीक, थोड़ा लंबा सेंटेंस
क्या?
लंबा सेंटेंस बोल भाई।
Now we have had successful first stage retrieval.
हाँ ठीक है, आ जाए।
And Mr. V is back.
तो
हाँ भाई.
नहीं है,
हाँ?
नहीं है, आवाज
आ रहा है. एकदम क्लियर आ रहा.
यूट्यूब में लाइव है अभी और आवाज।
हाँ, हो रहा होगा. मेरा सही आ रहा ना आवाज?
हाँ अभी सही आ रहा है एकदम। अचानक कैसे बढ़ गया?
अरे वो माइक चेंज किया.
हाँ ओके, स्टार्ट करते हैं।
ठीक है, तो फर्स्ट स्टेज का रिट्रीवल तो हो गया. नाउ वेटिंग फॉर सीको 2.
yesterday ये abort हो गया था. It was aborted like because of helium leak or something.
हाँ,
So they fixed that problem.
at about I think so T minus 30 seconds पे abort हुआ मिशन.
हाँ, automatic abort. तो मैनुअली मतलब वो लोग ने abort नहीं किया. हाँ, सब manual abort. Automatically was aborted by the system itself.
And on 6th also it didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Chalo, luckily we were able to capture it today.
This rocket is going to send 2 satellites, 2 communication satellites, payload. Three satellites, Intelsat, G33 and G33 satellites.
कितना 2 सैटेलाइट ही है ना? Intelsat
3 satellites for Intelsat, G33 and 34.
Intelsat का ही है ना ये सैटेलाइट G33 G34. हाँ 2 सैटेलाइट ही है ना.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, this Intelsat satellites constellation is for internet service providers, correct?
Yes. Before this, like Elon Musk was giving some lectures, some presentation on Starship and all, how it will be, future plans and all.
तूने देखा? I couldn't watch it.
I saw it like essentially in between it got stuck. It was not fully streamed. They were saying like that Starship can also be used for docking in the International Space Station. Can be possible.
Complete Starship.
Complete Starship.
Comparing the size of Starship and ISS would be
Like when. But when he showed the photo, like International Space Station and Starship docked, like rendered photo, like, it was awesome. Everyone was laughing at that time. But he's saying like it can be possible, like it's not looks odd, so big and all, but in space that doesn't matter much, weight and all. So yeah, it's possible.
but still your area and all plays a role there. ज़्यादा करेक्शन वगैरह करना पड़ेगा.
हाँ. How much time?
Now we are 22 minutes into the launch, and we'll be having the first payload injection at about 32 minutes and 57 seconds. This would be the Galaxy 33, and Galaxy 34 का injection होगा 38 minutes 7 seconds पर.
This will be launched to geosynchronous transfer orbit. So it will be flying towards east, getting like to even get the help of Earth's orbit and its rotational field. And
today's launch will be 132nd orbital launch attempt for SpaceX. It is 189th mission and 46th mission in 2022. And Falcon.
even the first stage booster like has been flown multiple times. Like it has done some 10 Starlink missions and all, like it has multiple launch records and all.
Oh,
So, yeah,
14th flight है शायद.
Yeah, so it's very good, like 14 flights with they can be used multiple times, and it's very good piece of technology demonstration, you can say. Like एक ही बार में इतना करना.
This will also bring down their launch cost. So technology demonstration as well as revving up their ground infra. So this will in turn have good cost impacts on it.
Yeah, that's why they are able to launch every week. Every week they have some one or two launch.
आज 157th रिकवरी है फाल्कन का.
Welcome back to the webcast of the Falcon 9 mission, carrying the Galaxy 33 and 34 satellites for our customer Intelsat. Now, if you're just joining us, we've had a nominal mission so far. Falcon 9 launched on time at 7:05 p.m. Eastern from Space Launch Complex 40 in Florida. We successfully recovered the first stage on our drone ship, marking its 14th landing. And while that was happening, the second stage completed its first burn, taking the Intelsat Galaxy 33 and 34 payloads into an initial parking orbit. Now we're about 15 seconds away from a second ignition of the Merlin vacuum engine, which will carry the second stage and those Intelsat Galaxy 33 and 34 satellites into the orbit needed for payload deploy.
ठीक है, अभी ignition होने वाला है.
And over the coast
Yes.
phase,
MVAC startup.
there's the call out there for MVAC startup. This burn will last about 45
Yeah,
seconds.
Merlin vacuum engine.
And just before this, we had been
See the
chilling
glow?
in the Merlin vacuum turbo pumps with liquid oxygen in preparation for the full flow.
SpaceX ने बहुत ही सही अपग्रेड किया to their engines. I mean, if you
So this
start
burn
looking from
dramatically
the first
increasing the
generation of
speed of the second stage,
Merlin
helping us
engines,
to raise the apogee or the highest
Yeah.
point
they have
of the
drastically
orbit
increased
for
the
payload deploy.
thrust.
Nominal deploy orbit.
So with that call out there, we know a couple of things. Merlin vacuum shutdown occurred, and the call out there from operators showing that we are in the payload deploy orbit. Now, the Intelsat Galaxy 33 and 34 satellites are still attached to Falcon 9's second stage at the top of the vehicle.
Okay,
Their
abhi to first
deployments
stage
will begin in about 5 minutes. First will be the Galaxy 33 satellite, followed by Galaxy 34 about 5 minutes after that. So, while we wait, we're going to go back to a coast phase. Please sit back, enjoy the views and our space jams.
So coasting is a very interesting and important mission phase जिसमें engines off कर देते हैं. Only attitude control is working for the vehicle. क्योंकि एक पर्टिकुलर इंजेक्शन पॉइंट पे ही सैटेलाइट्स को इंजेक्ट करना होगा, तो इसलिए ऑल्दो दे हैव अचीव्ड द स्टेबल ऑर्बिट, दे आर वेटिंग फॉर द राइट ऑर्बिटल पैरामीटर्स टू अचीव.
So it will be normally based on inertia. Like after a certain height, inertia will take to certain.
नहीं, काफ़ी सारा रीज़न है.
Attitude.
तो ग्राउंड कवरेज भी है, सो द सैटेलाइट ऑपरेटर शुड हैव अ ग्राउंड विजिबिलिटी, जो भी उनका ग्राउंड स्टेशन होगा.
Views सब बढ़िया है, like clear view of the. Now you can see engine view है.
Although they are saying that orbit has been achieved, still you can see on the screen
Yeah.
that altitude is increasing.
हाँ.
I'm not aware what are the orbits they are targeting. Orbit का क्या
They
height
were
है?
saying like
अब
geostationary orbit.
नहीं GTO रहेगा, but इंजेक्शन ऑर्बिट कौन सा है
Okay,
इनका?
for injection. No idea.
देखना पड़ेगा.
So it will be. So around the 32 minutes it will like they will first satellite, that is Galaxy 33, will be inserted. So you can around that altitude, like I think so 500 kilometer maybe. No.
Acquisition of signal, HPK.
जो स्टैंड altitude बढ़ रहा है वो 600 तक टच करेगा.
The first will be Galaxy 33, which will be deployed, and so around 33 minutes, I think so, around 33 minutes will be injected, and then afterwards Galaxy 34, which will be around 38 minutes. So they are different altitude, different. 500 it will touch for Galaxy 33, and maybe above 500, 550 for Galaxy 34.
So the payload which is G33 and 34, इन दोनों में से जो G33 है, it will replace Galaxy 15
Welcome to the
G15
webcast for the
satellite.
Intelsat Galaxy 33 and 34 mission. We had an on-time liftoff at 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time, followed by successful ascent, stage separation, a first stage landing, and 2 second stage engine burns. Now, this mission has launched the first 2 of 7 satellites that will replace and refresh a large part of the Intelsat North America Galaxy fleet. For Intelsat, this is a huge milestone for a project that started more than 3 years ago. Intelsat has 7 C-band satellites that are contracted to replace the existing North America media satellites. 6 of those 7 satellites are slated to be launched before the end of this year. Now we're coming up just a few seconds away from payload deployment of the first of those 2 satellites on board today's mission, the Galaxy 33 satellite.
अभी Galaxy 33
Galaxy 33
Deploy.
deploy confirmed.
Okay.
And you can see it just behind the Galaxy 34 satellite, gently floating off to perform the rest of its mission. Now, Galaxy 34 is still attached to Falcon 9's second stage. Its deployment will take place in about 5 minutes from now, so we're going to take another short coast phase, and we'll see you back in a few for Galaxy 34 deploy.
Why do you think that there is a difference in the deployment? Like one is in 33 minutes, other will be in 5 minutes, like around 39 minutes.
नहीं एक safe separation चाहिए ना दोनों satellites के बीच में. So by the time 34 deploy होगा तब तक 33 would have been stabilized into the orbit. If you see Starlink में तो पहले एक साथ पूरा cluster deploy होता है, उसके बाद individually the payload are detected. तो अभी एक वीडियो वायरल हुआ था ना जिसमें एक ही लाइन में कम से कम 10-12 सैटेलाइट जा रहे थे. So all of them maintain a certain safe separation distance.
So this reason is only safe separation distance. Like there is no other
most probably
extra reason name.
Most probably it should be that one only.
Because of that, like
Lost the signal.
time is difference, altitude difference आ जाता है तो वही.
नहीं altitude ये तो इधर चेंज हो रहा है, so they might be just coasting for slight change in orbital parameters, but not very much. क्योंकि ये जो altitude बढ़ रहा है इसका एक और रीज़न है कि this would be a elliptical orbit जिसमें जा रहा है.
हाँ
तो
yeah. So that doesn't matter, like both are in same
orbits.
Same orbit.
So the orbit might be same, but we can confirm once we get the values ना कि दोनों का orbit कितना injection है.
Because if you see, like the speed is decreasing. So yeah, it's almost in the same orbit, or because if both parameters are increasing, altitude and speed, everything, then we can say maybe in different orbit, but altitude is increasing and speed is decreasing.
The difference between Starlink mission and this is कि Starlink में तो the payloads are meant for LEO only.
Yeah, low Earth orbit, and this is going
to GSO via GTO.
So there, the orbit will be circular orbit, LEO.
I mean, not necessarily, but mostly it is near circular.
Acquisition signal, Diego Garcia.
38 minutes पे Galaxy 34 deploy होगा.
About 1 minute to go. Though in this shot we are not able to see the orbital corrections, but यहाँ पे इनका जो attitude system रहेगा, ACDS and all, ACDS, AOCS, so they would be constantly working upon कि orbit maintain रहे. नहीं तो due to drag and all, because their main engine is not working.
Hey again, we are nearing
Inka
the
attitude
end
changes.
of our mission for today for our customer Intelsat. Now, about 5 minutes ago, we deployed the Galaxy 33 satellite, and now we're awaiting deployment of the second and final payload on today's mission. That's Galaxy 34 that you can see on your screen. Payload deployment coming up about the next 10 or 15 seconds.
Galaxy 34, deploy confirmed.
And Galaxy 34 going off to join the constellation and its partner satellite Galaxy 33. All of us here at SpaceX want to give a big thank you to our customer Intelsat for entrusting us with today's mission. We also want to give a shout out to the Range and the Federal Aviation Administration for supporting today's mission. It's been a really exciting few days here at SpaceX. Tonight's launch concludes our 184th overall mission
What
to
is the
date.
second thing
our
coming up on the
46th
screen
launch
on
this
the right
year,
hand side?
and our third launch just this week,
Yeah,
including
I
the
was
launch
going
of
to
the
ask
Crew 5
exactly what
astronauts
it was.
to the
I
International
think so.
Space
Maybe that
Station.
is the 33
So,
satellite.
thank you to all of our viewers for tuning in and for your continued support. We hope you have a wonderful
Not
night
sure,
and
not
weekend.
sure.
Maybe I think so because of the reflection, like because of the sun hitting directly, it is more bright. Or
Yes,
maybe
sir.
it's any debris, but I don't think so. It is a debris. But yeah, in space, like it's not a very big difference.
So today we had successful launch for SpaceX, and yesterday it was for Rocket Lab.
So with that, we can conclude this stream. I think so.
Thank you guys, thank you everyone for joining in. See you the next time.
Subscribe.